Welcome to Let's Talk Dementia. I am Carol Howell, your host. I'm glad you've chosen to tune in today to see what's on my mind. I want to tell you a little bit about my caregiving journey, and then hopefully I will say something that will help you in your caregiving journey. If you have not yet done so, check us out on iTunes. We have podcasts there, also titled Let's Talk Dementia. We're being listened to in 51 countries. There's a lot of good free information, and as my husband says, if it's free, it's for me. Well, he actually changed that. Now he says if it's free, it's probably for me, because one time he got free cheesecake that was nasty. So he changed his mind about that. But there is a lot of good dementia education that's free. Check out also our website, letstalkdementia.org. There are links to everything we produce, as well as a blog that you can read. Many blogs there. And also you can see links to purchase our books, Let's Talk Dementia, Mama is Confused, and So Am I. And there's also a book I've written called If My Body is a Temple, Why Am I Eating Donuts? And that is a 90-day devotional on my journey of having lost 100 pounds. So anyway, I hope any or all of that is useful to you. Well, today I wanted to talk with you about Medicaid. I get calls all week from all over the country for folks from different reasons. There is seldom a week goes by that I don't get a phone call from someone saying that they are looking for assisted living, but their income or the family's income is $600, $700, $800 a month. Well, there's just no way you're going to afford assisted living on that. On average, throughout our country, you're looking at about $4,000 for assisted living. Now, there are some states that are less. Texas actually has the lowest cost on assisted living of anybody in the country. You can go into an assisted living there, depending on the city, for like $2,500. It's quite incredible. But other states run even higher. I believe I read recently, was it Connecticut, I'm not sure, don't hold me to that, is the most expensive. But I always thought California was the most expensive, but it's not. There are areas all through the country that really spike up the cost, and then there are areas that are lower. But on average, you're looking at about $4,000 for an assisted living in care. You can't do that on $600, $700, $800 a month income. That is when we need to look at Medicaid. Now, Medicaid regulations differ by state. I am in South Carolina, and I'm right on the border here of North Carolina, so I do a lot of business in both states. And I can tell you the income for North Carolina, the limit for Medicaid is $1,248 a month. South Carolina, I believe, is right about that amount too. So anything over $1,248, then you're outside of the range to qualify for Medicaid for assisted living. If you need Medicaid for skilled nursing, that's different. You're allowed to have a higher income, and you can also do a Medicaid trust in some states, whereby the income can be put into a trust. But I don't know of a state that allows you to do a Medicaid trust for assisted living. So either you qualify or you don't, income-wise. Your assets also have to be $2,000 or less. So they're going to look at what money you have. In most states, you are allowed to have a house and a car, but cash assets, stocks, bonds, any of those things are going to be counted as your assets, as property or value that you retain. They also are going to look back in most states. Now remember, it does vary by state. To see, have you transferred those assets from your name to someone else's name in the last 3 to 5 years. In some instances, they look back 10 years. So don't think you can sell mama's property or cash out her money and put it in your name and that will qualify her. Well, what it's probably going to do if you try to get Medicaid in that situation is qualify you for fraud. And that, I'm telling you, girl, I don't look good in orange stripes behind bars. So I'm not doing that. But what happens also is they're going to look to see what the care needs for the individual might be. You can't just decide to move to a community and go in on Medicaid because you want to. There has to be a need. Most states require you to meet the needs of at least 3 of the 5 activities of daily living. As I've told you before, the activities of daily living are broken down into 5 categories, and you can remember them by bead, B-E-A-D, like beads on a necklace, and add a T to the end, which makes it spell nothing I'm telling you, it messes up my whole thing. But B is bathing, E is eating, A is ambulating, D is dressing, and T is toileting. So most states are going to require at least 2 and generally 3 areas of need among those 5. So when all of that comes together, you very well might qualify for Medicaid. Now, here's the catcher. Most counties only have a few Medicaid communities. It's just a challenge. I'm in York County, South Carolina, and we have two communities in all of York County that will accept Medicaid. I know as I go into Gaston County in North Carolina, there are more communities, and I appreciate that. I think Mecklenburg County has more, but it just varies. A community is not required to accept Medicaid. So it's something to be aware of. Now, I have folks call me and say, my next door neighbor's great aunt's brother was in an assisted living and Medicare paid for it. No, they didn't. Never has Medicare paid for an assisted living. They don't. I'm just telling you. Now, I'll have people argue till they're blue in the face, and I'm just like, okay, believe what you want, but it didn't happen. What Medicare will do is if you leave the hospital and go into rehab, Medicare will cover a certain number of days of rehab for you. If you move from that rehab to a skilled nursing or an assisted living community or back home, Medicare stops paying. Then we're going to be looking at private pay or Medicaid. So that's what the options are. I'm sorry to tell you that, but I promise you it's the truth. If Medicare paid for assisted living, this country would be more broke than it already is, because we know, as I've told you, it's just not cheap. So that's some things to keep in mind. So what should we as caregivers do to prepare for our future? Here we are dealing with folks that have dementia, and we're struggling with the expenses and struggling with balancing the day and keeping things going and taking care of our family, taking care of our loved ones, and taking care of ourselves. Isn't that a neat idea? But we realize that it's a challenge. What do we want to do to plan for the future? Well, if you are age 60, 62, 65, somewhere through there, you need to look into purchasing a long-term care insurance policy. I highly recommend you go to our website, letstalkdementia.org, and you can find a link there for information regarding long-term care insurance. It will take you to a company that we just love working with, and they will offer you many different options and many different plans, and you can choose the one that works best for you. The way I like to describe it is if you can only afford the Chevy Vega, y'all remember that car from the 70s? It was cheap. Didn't last very long either. If that's all you can afford, then get that. But if you can afford the Ferrari, get that. Or if you need something in between, well, that works. My husband and I have purchased ours, and ours is somewhere in between. Now, I did purchase mine a little early. We purchased ours when my husband turned 60 and I was 56 and a half. Yep, that's early. And there are some in the financial industry who will say I did it too early. And maybe I did. Dementia runs in my family. It's very prominent. And I just got great peace from knowing that I already have that in place. Yep, I may pay premiums for a few extra years, but my peace of mind and the acid reduction in my belly, it was worth it. So think about that. It is excellent use of your money. That's what I'm trying to say. So most long-term care insurance policies are going to run you, I don't know, anywhere from $200 a month on up. That sounds like a lot. Let me tell you what assisted living costs. Again, I remind you, $4,000 or more. Boy, it doesn't take long to recoup every dime you paid into that policy should you need assisted living someday in your future. Now, why would you need assisted living? Well, dementia certainly might be one of them, but maybe you need it for health reasons and your brain is still really well. I know people in assisted living who have no cognitive issues but have health issues. There are a lot of reasons. So look into that. Check it out on our website, letstalkdementia.org. Well, I wanted to hopefully give you something funny to think about. I just realized I left my joke book down in the file drawer. Oh boy. Well, anyway, I will tell you a story about my mama. She does say the funniest things. She cracks me up. But recently, I came into her apartment excuse me, after my employee was, well, actually, while my employee was just finishing up visiting with Mama. I have a wonderful employee, Sheila, who visits with Mama once a week and has lunch with her, plays games with her, talks junk with her. I don't care what she does as long as she makes Mama smile and eat. Well, this was at the end of that appointment time with Mama, and Mama was just glowing and had eaten well, and I could tell Mama felt really good. And I said to her and Sheila, I said, well, Mama, you look pretty happy. And she said, we've had a good time today. She said, I feel so repupinated. And I went, you feel repupinated? She goes, wait a minute, that's not the right word. And I said, no, the right word is rejuvenated. Oh, she said, oh, I like repupinated better. I just love that. It made me laugh, and I have had the best time telling that story. If you're hearing it for the boy, I sound southern, don't I? If you are hearing it for the umpteenth time, then I say congratulations to you, because it still makes me giggle. And I hope that you feel repupinated today. I hope that you get a smile, and I hope you check out the different sources of information and resources that we have available. And remember this as you go through your caregiving journey: God is God, God is good, and He always knows and does what's best for His children. Blessings and smiles on your day.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. When you subscribe, you'll be able to stay up to date on our latest videos, and all of the videos are free. Check out my book, Let's Talk Dementia. It is available on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Blessings and smiles.